Hello YouTube. Today we're going to be doing a video tour of this, an updated tour, November of 2016. The ceiling fans installed at the Fanimation Museum in Zionsville, Indiana. There's been some new additions, so I thought I'd do an updated tour. We're gonna do the second floor here. So starting off in the stairwell, we have the 1970s, late 70s, early 80s Casablanca display. Mostly all of these are K63 except for the Cambridge. So yeah, right here we have a Casablanca 20th century in polished brass, K63. Over here we have a Casablanca Broadway Limited ceiling fan. I think this is antique brass, K63. Over here we have a copper K63 Casablanca New Orleans ceiling fan. Here, this is a non-K63. This is just a 42-inch Casablanca Cambridge ceiling fan from the early 80s. All these ones are late 70s, by the way. Here is a 1980, so very early 80s Casablanca. Is it? What is? I think it's a Columbia 2. Yeah, it's a Casablanca Columbia 2 in antique brass. And then here we have a K63 36-inch Casablanca Four Seasons. With stencil from the late 70s, pardon me. Alright. You can see in here they've removed all the fans. And here, now we're gonna go into the museum. So here is the 52-inch Huron antique replica ceiling fan. I think this was customly made and put together last year, actually. Here is a JCPenney, an early 80s JCPenney ceiling fan with an added on well, it was a light kit option in the catalog, a Tiffany stained glass light, which that light kit is very uncommon. Alright, here is a, what's the brand of this again? Sanyo, Caribbean, no, not Caribbean Breeze. Something like that. I think it's Sanyo. It's an early 80s 36-inch industrial with a light. Here's a new addition of the museum, is a long scroll Casablanca New Orleans. It's a hang true, so I think it's early to mid 80s. Here's a Sunbeam ornate Calcutta ceiling fan. What's going on? I'm just making an updated video.
Hello. Good, how you doing? We're just gonna have enough? Never. Last Monday wasn't enough? Oh, no. There's 3 of them there.
So I think this is also from the early 80s. So here is a Hunter Art Deco original ceiling fan, sometime late 70s, early 80s. Here is another new addition of the museum, a Wheel of Fortune, a Sondergaard. This is a Sondergaard ceiling fan made with some Casablanca parts, but it was customly made for Wheel of Fortune because it was won as a prize in 1980. Over here is a Casablanca Centennial ceiling fan. I think early 80s. Here is a Homestead Whisper Fan 3 in copper. Here's a, I think early 80s. Here's a, Encon 6. Here's an Encon 6-blade original copy ceiling fan. I actually don't know. I think this is mid-80s. Here is a Casablanca. Here's a copper, actually no, it's antique brass. It's an antique brass Casablanca Zephyr. I think this is an early K55 one from the early 80s. Like very early 80s. Here is a Fanimation Palisade. I think this is a mid to late 80s Fanimation Palisade. Here's a Hunter 1886 limited edition ceiling fan. I'm actually going to be going to Disney World pretty soon this spring, and they have a whole bunch of these in one of the hotel lobbies and gift shops, so that's really cool. I heard one of the kid collectors got one of these recently, which is pretty neat. Here's a new tone veranda friction dry ceiling fan. I badly want one of these. Here's a Southern Fan Company Tara ceiling fan. So this one's late 79, by the way. Yeah, Stencil Southern Fan Company Terra ceiling fan from the early 80s. This is another badly want. Here's I think this is Patton. No, I don't know. Is it actually? I think it's that one that's Pat. I don't remember what this one is, but I think it's an early 80s one. Here's a West Winds. Here's another new edition of the museum. A West Winds. Is this a Columbia copy? I never found out. I think from the looks of it, it's early 80s, but I was never told.
We just found them. You got $10, I'll tell you a secret.
Sorry about that, I was talking to someone. I was talking to Kim. But anyways, you have a gloss black 1930s original ceiling fan replica from the 90s, the early 90s actually. Goes over this dentistry thing. Dentist. This is a pretty neat setup here. It's like a stage prop. Reminds me of what a Casablanca stage prop would look like. Or some movie like that. Here's a Phil Rich Emerson blender fan copy. I don't know exactly when this is from. It looks early 80s. I don't know for sure. Could be late 70s. Actually, no, I think it's 80s because that's when actual blender fan was. Never mind. Anyway, here is a Emerson pedal ceiling fan. I actually have one of these. This one is from the I think late 80s, early 90s. Here's the other one that I thought may be a patent. I know one of these is a patent oak leaf copy, and the other one's something else. But yeah, this one. I think it's from the late 70s. Here's a new tone veranda, some model. But yeah, it's like a combination of I'm gonna call it a veranda industrial basically because it's like an industrial fan based off the Veranda Deluxe. I think this is also late 70s, just around the same time as this one. Here's a Casablanca Columbia ceiling fan. From the looks of it, it's late 70s, maybe even earlier than that. I don't know. This one's pretty old. Here's a Fasco World Fair ceiling, a Fasco State Fair World Fair ceiling fan. I think early 80s. Here's a Casablanca, another Casablanca 20th century in copper. I think this is another K63 one from the late 70s. If not, it's an early K55 one from the early 80s. So here's a VEC industrial ceiling fan. This is a fan from the 1970s that was only sold in Mexico. So Dan Spiffy went to the border to go pick it up for the museum. This is another new addition to the museum, a classic fan company original copy. Here's an Emerson TriStar ceiling fan, so around the same time as the Pedal, early 90s. Here's a 36-inch white and polished brass island fan company. I think the early 80s, maybe late 70s, 79, 80, something like that. I think this is a 90s outdoor original ceiling fan. Sorry about that, my camera cut off. The lid closed. So sorry about that. Anyway, here is a Japanese Sanyo ceiling fan that reminds me of a Dayton Lasco with 3 blades. I think maybe late 70s, early 80s. Again, most of the fans in here are from the late 70s, early 80s. Let me get the strap on here. There, that's better. Here's a Casablanca Classic. No, not Casablanca Classic. There's so many different ones like this, it's hard to keep track of them. But yeah, I think it's like an Emerson Sears Classic, maybe something. A 36-inch one in brushed nickel, which is not common. I think this is, again, late 70s, early 80s. KDK. A KDK, I don't know the model name of this one. I think it's early 80s. Here, I think this is maybe early to mid 70s. This is a very early Casablanca Victorian ceiling fan. And these actually only have 1 speed, I believe. That's a fun fact. Anyway, here's a Casablanca. This is another new addition of the museum, a parted out California gold, just as a Spirit of Saturn motor, downrod canopy, with San Marino blades, white gloss, San Marino blade brackets, high gloss white blades, Casablanca, and then a light kit. We're not sure if this one's from actual California gold or not, but for the actual California gold itself is extremely uncommon, practically none at all. No fan collector has one, so we parted one out for the museum. Here is a Progress Lighting Here's a Progress Lighting Windsor ceiling fan, I think from the early to mid 80s with stencil. Here's what we decided to do. The Airmaster relight was smoking, so we took it down. It's not up right now. We're probably it's not gonna be hung back up for a little while. We decided to take the Fasco, which was, hold on. Where is the Encon Crompton? Did they take it down? Where's the Encon Crompton Greaves? Did they take it down? Oh, it's surely gotta be around here somewhere. Where'd it go? I am not... I don't see it. What the heck did they do? They did some work after the group trips. I'm not sure. Oh, they put it here. No, so it looks like apparently they swapped the Canadian Spinner and the Crompton Greaves around. But yeah, here was where the Fasco, I think this is where the Fasco heat cycler was, and we moved it here so it could be powered. But yeah, there's a Fasco heat cycler, late, I think this is early 80s. Here's a 90s J.C. Penney ceiling fan. I actually like this, and they should put these in like hotels or something, considering now that they're pretty much very uncommon. But this would look great in like one of those Las Vegas 90s resort hotels. I mean, it's pretty cool. I like this one a lot, considering it's a 90s fan. Here's another one. I completely forget what this one is. I think it's late 70s, maybe early 80s, I don't know. It's American Industries 6-blade, with cane, I think from the early 80s. Here's a plastic designer, a Sears plastic designer ceiling fan with floral. This light kit isn't original, but the flap, they just got it to match the flower around the fan. I think it's from probably the late 70s. Here's a a rare version of a Newtone Slimline with an integrated light kit from probably from the early 80s, early to mid 80s. This is another new addition of the museum. This is a CEC, I think. I don't actually really know. At the last minute, we were scrambling, so we decided, oh, well, we're just going to hang this up because we don't have time to really do much. So we just quickly got this out of the fan closet and hung it up. So, it was supposed to go in the museum for a while, but this wasn't planned to go in the museum. We just decided to put this up at the last minute. By the way, I was actually here the whole day helping put up a lot of the new fans before the group trip. Here's a Southern Fan Company Terra ceiling fan. Or no, oh, sorry. Why did I say that? This is a Turkey, yeah, it's similar to that one in some ways. It's a turkey vent, a turkey foot vent. We don't know the brand or model name, unknown. I think it's an early 80s, maybe late 70s, early 80s cane. Here is a gold-plated SMC Laguna ceiling fan from the early 80s. Here is a 36-inch Dayton ring fan. These are relevantly common, but I think people requested a ring fan in the museum, so he ended up putting the rarest size he could find, which was this. Here is a tat. Here's a 4-blade tat. Yeah, it's a 4-blade, 36-inch, tiny, cute little tat right there. I think from the early 80s. I think this one is mid-80s. Here's a, what's this one? What's the brand name? I think it's a Magic Heat. I don't know, but it's an original copy. I think this one's actually from 1981. This is a, I was gonna look up the name of these. It's a 6-blade one like this, a 36-inch 6-blade one. That's this brand and Dan's parents' house, and then this one. Those are the only two videos of these on YouTube. It's a very uncommon brand, but yeah. Here is a let me check the battery. How much battery we got on this? Sorry, we got plenty. Here is an Emerson Strato fan here. There's a fan collector. His high school is full of these. I don't know if you guys saw that. Like there's some in the gym, there's some in the lobby, and there's 36-inch ones, which are even more common. We're hoping to get a 36-inch one out of the high school or somewhere to put up, because I think the 36-inch ones are even more uncommon. Here's another ornate Hunter original, early 80s Hunter original. Here is a Panasonic, I think. Panasonic ? Industrial ceiling fan, I think from the early 80s. This is just a Key Largo decoration wicker fan, but they added a disco ball into it so it can turn on with the It can be turned on with the X10. Here's a Hunter Studio 6. Here's a Hunter Studio series ceiling fan with 6 blades. I think from the late 80s. Here is a chrome eye fan. This is another new addition of the museum. We have a chrome eye fan. That Andrew, aka Charles Smith, added to the museum. But yeah, this is my all-time. I think this is now my all-time favorite fan of the museum. I mean, just look at this. I mean, it's like this. It's like the antique brass one over there, but I mean, it's just this shiny vintage chrome on this very well-made motor. I mean, it's just, we don't know what this is. We call it the eye fan because of the shape of the vents, but I mean, just look at this shiny piece of treasure. I mean, it's like a diamond, basically. I mean, this is really cool that the museum has one of these. I absolutely love it. Here's a Ritz. Actually, no, we found out the brand of this one is that they wrote it on a CEC. This is a CEC thing from the early 80s with the stained glass Hunter light kit. With that big bulb, I actually really like that light kit on it. It would be cool to see one of these installed in a Pizza Hut atrium. I mean, these would look perfect in there. Here's a Magic Heat fan. Here's I think another early 80s Magic Heat fan, if that one isn't a Magic Heat fan, with stained glass. This is a pretty cool one. Here's a, so it looks like they put the Canadian, when we had the group trip on Monday, they put the Canadian spinner fan, not the Canadian, the Crompton Grease, that's now right there, over here, and then apparently after the group trip they swapped this one and that one, because I know Andrew Charles Smith wanted, the Canadian one was too high, it was hitting that one, so they must have gotten a custom made down rod in the warehouse and got this one set up like that. And I actually think I think that's actually really cool. I like it. Here is a Casablanca Avalon ceiling fan. There's another Disney World resort that has these. I assume they still have them in the cafeteria, but yeah, these are, Casablanca Avalon ceiling fan. These are pretty cool. Here's a 1969 Emerson. This is actually a late 60s, a very early Emerson blender ceiling fan, 36-inch and with the pull chain in the middle. So these are, I don't know, these are very uncommon. I've actually never heard of these anywhere else besides the museum. Here's a Casablanca, why did I say it like that? Casablanca, another Broadway limited, looks like not a K63, I think it's a early 80s K55 copper Broadway limited. Here's a golden electric ceiling fan that came out, one of the ones that came out of the dry cleaners, from the early 80s. Here's a this is another new addition to the museum. It's a mid-80s Canadian tat hugger. with its floral housing blades. And Dan didn't really want, this is the only hugger in the museum, the first hugger. Dan didn't really like it that much, but since people were begging him for for him to put up a hugger in the museum, he finally was like, okay, this one's the closest one that I like that I can find. So yeah. Here is a, we're gonna go around here. Here's a Mistral tap ceiling fan with the fluorescent light. We call it like a beach ball fan since it's kind of shaped like a beach ball. We got stained glass. It's actually for a preheat fluorescent light in there. Here is a chrome Moss WF series ceiling fan. I think maybe the early to mid 80s. It's another new addition in the museum. Metal Pete and I actually put this one up together. I got to put the blades on this ceiling fan and it's really cool. I got to get a top shot of the museum too. I've never seen the museum at that angle before, which was, I got to even spin this fan, which is not powered. Alright, anyway, not to get off topic. Here's a Leslie, this is referred to as this is one of the models referred to a Play It Again Sam, but there's several models referred to that. I don't know the actual, I forget the actual model name. I'm very bad at memorizing numbers and letters and stuff, that's just me. There has to be something special about it in order, if it's just a bunch of code, then I'm likely to forget in 2 seconds. Here's another Leslie Locke Evergo Banana fan copy, in white. This one's, I actually like this one a lot. Here's an SMC, industrial, with I don't know the model name. I think it's in the early 80s, maybe late 70s. Here's the antique brass eye fan. Here is a Moss Emperor. Here's a Moss Emperor ceiling fan with yeah, this is a pretty cool one. I mean, emperors aren't. I think this is I'm gonna guess it was the same story with the story. Sorry, I can't pronounce anything. The story with the hugger fan that he was begged to put an emperor in the was it? Wait, what's that say? That's like an Evergo label on it though, so maybe it was bought by Evergo, but it was originally Moss. Or maybe Moss was the one who originally came with those labels and then Evergo bought them from Moss. But yeah, I'm gonna guess he was begged to put up an emperor in the museum, and then this is the coolest one he could find. Because I mean, these are irrelevantly common. I mean, these are sort of rare, but they aren't. I mean, we've seen them before. I mean, I know Fan of Vacuums too saw several of these in a barber shop, but it was closed. It was in Williamsburg, so I'm starting to think it was probably demolished. Just like pretty much all the other cool buildings that were down there. I mean, it was... Sorry, I'm going to pause from the tour. I want to tell you about... quick story about the Williamsburg area. There was a whole ton of cool buildings there full of ceiling fans and just the architecture, and pretty much every single one of them was demolished. And then they put up just a bunch of new crap buildings in their place. Like, there was a mall, an outlet mall with Old Souths in it, with paint. I think they may have been painted blue, they may have been original, I don't remember. But yeah, it was demolished. The mall was demolished. The shopping town center, everything in there was demolished. Pretty much all the stores with the cool fans were demolished, so I don't know if that barber shop is still there or not. My guess is it's probably was one of the buildings that was demolished, but it could still be there. Here's a sailcloth. Here's a Hunter sailcloth original ceiling fan from the 90s. Not much to say about it. Here's a old this is an old Jacksonville from I think the late 70s, early 80s again. Here's a copper Brown G event with cane, I think from the early 80s. Here's the Crompton Greaves spinner that they put over here. I think probably late 70s, early 80s again. Here's a mid to late 80s Homestead Wind 2. This was here before, but when we were, but they added a par spotlight kit to it when we were here last weekend. So that's new. But the fan has been here for a while. But yeah, this is a very uncommon light kit though. Dan actually only saw these in the catalog for the longest time, and people were like, oh, I don't think those exist, and then he would always have to show them in the catalog that they did until he finally found one with the par light kit. So that is pretty cool. PAR. I don't know, maybe you just say it like that. Here's a Homestead Mickey Mouse. It looks a little like, it's like a smaller Universal themed Mickey Mouse fan, or I think from the early to mid 80s. Here's a French gyro ceiling fan. That was a Mexican accent, not a French accent, so pardon that. I'm not always good at making accents, but anyway, yeah, this one runs on 220, so this can't really be powered, but yeah, it's from, I think maybe the 30s or the 40s, it's pretty old. Here's a Jab Industries 4-blade industrial ceiling fan. I actually like this one a lot. This is a 1 as well. I think from the early 80s. Here's a Homestead Whisper Fan 2 with stencil. Here's a Homestead Whisper Fan 1 right here. So they actually have all 3 Whisper fans in the museum. So yeah, here's the Homestead Whisper Fan 1. These are both from, I think, from the early to mid 80s. And then finally, last but not least, we have a turquoise Mitsubishi Mini Industrial Turquoise foreign fan from, I think, Japan. I think it's from the 40s. Another very old one, just like the French gyro. So yeah, that actually covers everything. That was a lot of fans. Alright, I didn't want to interrupt the announcement. Anyways, it was just an employee call. So anyways, yeah, this is a very busy business day today. Thankfully, the museum is nice and quiet. So, yeah, that's it, guys. That's pretty much, we'll kind of look at some of the floor fans here. I'll do a demonstration of the X10 while I'm here. I'm actually going to do a demonstration of actually all the fans that are powered, even the ones that were here before. I just want to kind of get a fresh, new, clean start. So, yeah. Is the Fargo Fitz and Earl? I don't know. Another Fargo desk fan. We have some vintage stuff here too. And they've wired some stuff in the downstairs museum, I heard too. So yeah, that's it for the upstairs tour, guys. Thanks for watching.